Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Tipsy Book Talks.
And welcome to Tipsy Book Talks.
I'm so sorry we're putting you guys through this. This is so embarrassing. Okay, we'll just do regular.
Yeah, I guess.
We're not funny.
No, not when we try to do monster voices. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Taylor.
And welcome to another Tipsy Book Talks. Today we're actually going to be talking about Frankenstein. We're going to go into our drink, our non-spoiler section, our spoiler section, and we might do a little BuzzFeed quiz in between.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
But first, let's talk about our drinks. So this one is the Drankenstein, which we took out of the Tequila Mockingbird by Tom Federle. I can never say his name. I will never learn how to say his name. But it's this one right here.
And it's very pretty.
Yeah, basically it's, this little green drink that we're kind of digging. So, cheers. I don't hate it.
That's an interesting flavor.
If you watched our Q&A and watched the drinks that we made, it's basically a combination of mine and Rayanne's two drinks. Mm-hmm. It's literally all it is.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a fan of that.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. If you guys have not read Frankenstein, basically what this is about, it's about a man named Victor Frankenstein who is a scientist, and he has this vision that he wants to create a man. So everything about his life is basically trying to lead up to him creating a man, and it obviously does not go as he plans, aka the creation of the creature who is not named Frankenstein, but everybody calls him Frankenstein.
Yep.
This is him. He's on my shirt.
That's his modern movie depiction.
My favorite thing though is we match. Look it. He's wearing a red and white striped shirt and I'm wearing a red and white striped shirt. So me and the creature, we're like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it doesn't go as planned, and then if basically Victor's life turns to shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what arrogance does to you.
Yep. I really want to hop into the spoiler section so we can
But we'll rate it really quick and then we'll get into spoilers.
Right. I would give it probably about, I'm going to rate it kind of low. I would give it a 2.5 to a 3.
Yeah.
The thing is I highly love the fact that it's written by a woman, and so a lot of the characters are through the eyes of a woman, and I really like that idea. But the main character pisses me off. His storyline pisses me off. A lot of what happens, I'm like, this is so over the top and exaggerated that I get very annoyed with it. So
yeah, we also kind of talk about it in our Dracula video. I'll put it in the link down below. We have a whole playlist of all of our Halloween videos. We're so close to Halloween, so happy Halloween.
Happy almost Halloween.
I know, but basically what happened is this was birthed in the Romantic period by Mary Shelley. And basically all of these romantic authors got together and they all start telling scary stories. So this is kind of where that story is birthed from. Dracula was also birthed at that little get together that they had. I'm also going to probably give it a 3 stars, mainly because I didn't love how the story was told. I really enjoy the premise of it, and I enjoyed the story overall, but I just feel like there were so many boring parts. Yeah, it was super boring and it was super biased.
I was gonna say, just a heads up, if you are trying to read it, it is a story of a story of a story. Deep delved in, and you kind of do this dip and come back up of okay, so here's this guy telling this story of this guy, and then it's okay, he's done telling the story, he's done telling.
Yeah. So I think that is the one downfall of the audiobook, because I read it regularly the first time, through, and then when I was reading the audiobook, it's been probably a year, and I read it really quickly because I read it for class originally, so I literally sped through it just for one class, and then that was it. So this time listening to the audiobook, I had to go back quite a few times and be wait, who's talking? Who just died? What happened? And so that's where it gets kind of confusing. But overall, it wasn't a bad book. We both rated it 2.5 stars.
Yeah, so relatively 3.
Yeah, so I think it was a solid book, but you know, if you don't read it, you don't read it, and I won't hate you for it.
Yeah. Besides having to read it for high school, you probably will never read it again.
Yeah, but if you do want to read it and you haven't read it yet, we're going to say goodbye to you now because we are going to get into the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So everyone who hasn't read it yet, peace out.
Later. We'll see you in a little bit.
It's alive! The monster! It's alive!
But yeah, so let's get into the spoiler section. The first thing that we are going to do is take a BuzzFeed quiz because that's on our brand right now.
So this BuzzFeed quiz is called Answer These 5 Questions and will reveal which character from Frankenstein you should marry. So there are not that many characters in Frankenstein. I'm very curious to see who they pair us up with.
I would say I'd want to marry Elizabeth out of all of them.
Taylor, how would you describe your childhood? There's the greatest ever, pretty normal, or horribly lonely.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't want to put pretty normal because that's basic. I had a good childhood. I'll say the greatest ever.
I know who you're gonna get. What's your main priority in life? Being a good friend, learning as much as possible, or being accepted?
I think being a good friend. I feel like friendship is what makes like everything worth it. Like the relationships that you create.
How would you describe your family? A mismatched but loving family? They're a normal group of people, or I don't really have one.
I'm gonna say, is this like, do you think it's immediate family or like extended family too?
I'm gonna guess like overall what you would
Everyone?
depict as family.
I'm gonna say mismatched but lovable.
What's your biggest flaw? Your
Keep burping.
vengefulness, I don't solve my problems, or my blind trust in people?
I don't solve my problems. I'm definitely an avoider sometimes.
How do you respond when someone makes you angry? I don't know if I should answer that. I run away, I talk it out with them.
If somebody makes me angry, I usually talk it out with them. My life. Let
She's
me ask
marrying
you.
her soulmate, Victor Frankenstein. You're
Fuck
supposed to take
Victor
a drink
Frankenstein.
every single time, but it's fine, I'll do it. It's 5 questions, so.
I took 5 gulps. Okay, how would you describe your childhood? The greatest ever, pretty normal, horribly lonely.
You know what? I'm just gonna put horribly lonely because I'm gonna be sad and depressed.
What's your main priority in life? Being a good friend, learning as much as possible, being accepted.
Definitely being a good friend.
How would you describe your family? Mismatched but loving, they're a normal group of people, or I don't really have one.
They're a normal group of people.
What's your biggest flaw? My vengefulness, I don't solve my problems, or my blind trust in people?
My blind trust in people.
Yeah, from the stories I've heard, I feel that. How do you respond when someone makes you angry? I don't know if I should answer that. I run away. I talk it out with them.
I run away.
You got Henry Clerval.
Oh my god, that's so random.
You
but
got
I love
the most non-spooky person in the book. Henry is chipper, helpful, and doesn't create monsters who have internal crisis over their actions and appearances.
You know what? Of all of the people there, I'm so happy it's Clerval. I'm so sad that I will lose my husband at some point.
Yeah, he
but
gets brutally murdered.
But like, you know what? We would have had a great time together. He would have been just like a fun, lovable kind of guy, and I feel like we would have gone on cute dates and it would have been all great until I come home and I'm like, he's dead, and then this Victor Frankenstein fella would have showed up and I'd be like, you did it?
Since we have been chatting about who we would end up with, let's talk about favorite and least favorite characters.
Hell
so
yes.
who is your favorite character, Rayam?
Of all the characters, you know what? I'm gonna say Clerval because he is both optimistic and loving and tries to be there for his friend. I really appreciate all that, and he doesn't do jack shit in the story, and that's what I love because I don't like a lot of the characters.
I'm gonna say the creature. Mainly because he is so like sympathetic, and also just think about like his life. Like he literally was created, somebody ran away from him, and he had no way of like knowing anything, so all he does is basically like hide out and watch this family and like learn. He teaches everything himself by reading books and listening to them and like watching them interact with each other, and then that's how he just fucking learns everything.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine being a child and doing that? That's basically what it is. I don't know. I really like him, but I also really like the old man that he watches, the old man in the woods.
Old blind man?
Yeah, the old blind man, like,
Love him.
he is just like so revered by everybody around him, like Felix and Agatha, who are his children.
Yeah.
I don't know if it says his name, but I can't remember it. It was mainly
think
talking
so.
about Felix and Agatha, and they always refer to him as like the older man or the father.
Papa or father.
Yeah. So like he is just like this old sweet man who is so like wise and also so accepting. Like, he literally ended up in jail because of, like, his son's choices. But, like, no matter what, he always was just, like, this loving, like, very sweet character.
Who are your least favorite characters?
My least favorite characters, I think I only have one, Victor Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein, that stupid bitch.
Such a arrogant character.
He's such an asshole.
He, like, literally is like, I am smart, and so, like, humanity is depending on me. I need to make man because it is what is best for humanity, as if you can't just go, like, bang a lady and make a man that way, you know?
That's what kills me is he's like, I've created life. And I was like, you could have had sex with a woman and then also created life. Like, that's not hard to do.
It's literally just, like, his arrogance, but also he didn't really do anything that he set out to do.
No.
He created the creature and then he ran away from it.
Yeah.
And then spent years just hiding out and, like, pretending like he didn't do it. And then basically just, like, in the end he was like, I'm gonna do everything in my power to hunt down this creature because he killed my wife. But he killed multiple other people before that. Like, Frankenstein didn't do anything. I just think that, like, any person who is so arrogant to believe that, like, they are just the center of the universe and, like, what their will is perfect. It's what kills me.
Well, the entire story is him telling it from, like, this one specific moment when Walden finds, which, by the way, Walden is so gay. Like, he clearly states that he doesn't want a man for romantic reasons, and he, like, is writing to his sister being like, I know I sound like a romantic, but I'm like, bro, you, like, really, really want, like, a man in your life, and that's, like, not just for friendship. Like, I'm sorry, you can't unconvince me that he's a little gay, but I really don't like Victor Frankenstein, mostly because of the fact that he is so self-centered in the entire novel that he has the longest story. Walden is like, dear sister, today we went fishing, and that was all. I love you, I hope you're well, I can't wait to see you.
3 letters in the beginning.
3 letters, that's it. Fucking Victor Frankenstein starts off and goes, Geneva was the finest of all homes that I can claim home, when realistically I was conceived in this, and I'm like, nobody cares. Like, literally, this man is, like, rescuing you because he sees a random person in the ocean and is like, oh, I need to save him. And then all of a sudden you come on board, you're like, it's my time to shine, bitches. Like,
not only that, but I'm pretty sure it took him in the end. They said, like, Walden explains, he was like, this man explained his story over 13 days. Could you imagine somebody telling you a story for 13 days long?
2 weeks. Like,
I would not want to be friends with them. I'd be like, okay, you're annoying.
That's why I wouldn't doubt if Walden was in love with Victor Frankenstein, and that's why he was so, like, enthralled to want to hear his story, because I'm like, I have never met anybody that I'm like, please tell me the earliest memory you have and everything that you know about your life.
I want to know everything about you.
Yeah. Imagine Margaret getting, like, 17 letters of him relaying somebody else's story.
Yeah.
And she's like,
he's like, I met this guy.
I don't care. Like, I really just don't care.
I'm just glad you're alive.
And that's the thing is, that's why I think reading Frankenstein is so hard, because I don't want to hear every second of, like, Victor Frankenstein's life. Like, it gets interesting when it gets to the creatures telling of his story.
It really is.
Only
And there are
time.
some parts that, like, the creature says. I know one, I guess we can go into, like, themes now.
Yeah.
But one thing, like, only one quote that I can think of from the creature is he was like, you are my creator, but I am your master. Like, he says it, like, 3 times, and every time I'm like, and it makes sense, because that's exactly what children are like.
That's
They're
true.
like, you created me, but I own you.
Okay. So going into themes, I just have a thematic question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that Victor Frankenstein is actually the monster in the story?
Do you think that, like, if we were taking it as it is written, like, he is the monster because, like, his arrogance and, like, the way that he is like, okay, I'm going to create man, and then when he does it wrong, he does not own up to what he did, and he avoids it. He lets multiple people die before he even tries to solve the problem that he created. And I think that is a very monstrous thing to do.
Oh yeah. Realistically, how people are always like, Frankenstein's the monster, I think I finally am like understanding them, like, yeah, Victor Frankenstein is the monster in the story, because he doesn't, like, basically he takes on the role of fatherhood and then instantly backs out and just runs away and has no idea what to do, and instead of actually owning up to it, like, immediately being like, okay, I created this creature, I need to now take care of it, I need to help supply, like, whatever he wants, basically, which the creature does go into, all I want is somebody to hang out with, all I want is somebody to care for, and Victor Frankenstein's like, no, you're gonna manipulate this person, and this person's gonna have the same mentality, and she's gonna kill, which I'm like, who? How? Like, I'm like, how do you come up with this concept that initially people are born and ready to kill? That's insane to me.
Too, if it is based off of, like, anything in Mary Shelley's life. Because I want to say, like, Mary Wollstonecraft had, like, children with, like, other men before she had Mary Shelley.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if there's, like, any type of, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about Wollstonecraft, but, like, any type of, like, abandonment of, like, a father, like, abandoning his child. I want to know if it's, like, based off of that type of story.
There was just a lot of, like, I guess since we're in themes, a thematic thing of, like, abandonment and, like, just leaving, because I was like, Victor Frankenstein is the main character that we focus on. Like, the creature is there, obviously, and has things happen, where he also invokes a lot of things. But Victor Frankenstein runs away so often from, like, the love of his life, which is just weird, and, like, from his new child, from, like, his actual schooling. Like, he straight up just drops that and just starts building a human, and then just, like, completely disappears on, like,
Literally.
on, like, his college thing. I'm like, sir, I'm gonna guess that, like, that doesn't really come at, like, a very, you know, well-abundant area where you can just go to school and then be fine. Like, I'm like...
And also, that's just so, like, privileged. Like, to just be like, I don't agree with my professors, so, like, fuck you guys. I'm out of here. I'm gonna do my own thing. He paid for it. Your father probably paid for that. Like...
Yes.
Especially in the drunk history that we watched, they were very adamant on, like, that is a scary, good story. But, like, as I'm reading it, I'm just like, this is just up.
Yeah, it feels very just, I guess what I could equate it to from then to now would be like watching, like, so cringy, watching, like, World Star and, like, watching people get into, like, fist fights where it's like everybody else is like, ooh, that's, like, up, but that's terrifying, or that's hilarious. Like, I feel like at that point the idea of just creating a zombie man was, like, the scariest part.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, the zombie man decided to murder people, which, by the way, I really just want to know what the creature looked like, you know?
Well, they say it's, like, so interesting, but because, like, Victor Frankenstein starts by talking about how beautiful he is in, like, every, like, sense of the word. He's like, he has beautiful skin, he's big, he's tall,
yeah.
He has beautiful black hair, basically getting to, like, these grotesque features, aka, like, white milky eyes.
Yeah.
And, like, that's literally the only thing that he says that is, like, grotesque about him.
How does Victor Frankenstein describe the creature? So, Cliff Notes came in the rescue, and it says, the monster now begins to take shape. Victor describes his creature in full detail as beautiful yet repulsive, with his yellow skin, lustrous black and flowing hair, and teeth of pearly whiteness. Victor describes the monster's eyes, considered the windows upon the soul, as watery eyes that seemed almost the same color as the dun white sockets in which they were set, his shriveled complexion, and straight black lips. So that's the thing, is I could imagine how terrifying that would be to see, like, basically a, like, dead walking person.
Think about, too, like, he was literally just made. Doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Like, probably pretty weak in the beginning of him being made. If, like, and Victor was in a lab. He easily probably had a scalpel right there. He could have just fucking slit his throat. But instead, he was a little coward bitch and, like, ran away and avoided his problems for years.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, I have no sympathy for you.
Zero.
I'm sorry your whole family died. I have some sympathy for them, but, like...
I have more sympathy for William, for Justine, for Elizabeth. Like, I mean, his dad was old, so I was like, that was kind of climbing up there. For Clerval, like, I have sympathy for all 4 of those people, yeah, than I do for Victor Frankenstein. I could give a I'd be like, dude, you did this to yourself. You literally did all of this to yourself.
I don't know, the ending isn't it for me. Basically, the creature comes and like mourns Victor and then also is like, but I, you know, stand by what I did and now I'm gonna go live my life in solitude until I die.
Like any good child, he's basically like, I pissed mom and dad off. Okay, well, I guess I gotta live with that now. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Like, that was literally it. The creature wanted love and attention so badly, he would leave notes for Victor to be like, hey, if you're lost, this is where I'm headed. I left you a dead rabbit so you could eat that, so you can still find me. Keep it going. Like, he wanted Victor to love him so much that he was like, I'm going to basically get rid of everybody in your life so the only person you have to love is the only thing you created. And that's, I'm like, oh, this poor creature. He just completely got f***ed over from the minute he was like birthed. But yeah.
And that was really all he wanted. He just like, he was made and then all he wanted was to just like be a bit happy.
All he wanted was to just be he wanted that little sliver of happiness.
And didn't get it. So I feel like that's part of my issue with the book too, is I'm just like, yeah, he got his revenge, but like he got nothing else. Nobody else, no one took anything away from this book. I like enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of reading it, but like I didn't love the book.
I enjoyed the reading of it. I would highly recommend if you've gotten to this part and you're still watching, you've definitely already read it and or listened to it, but I would, if you ever want to re-listen to it and or read it, I would just recommend an audiobook.
Also recommend the drunk history on it.
Yes, it is so funny.
It is so funny and it gives you such like a whole different perspective. That's the word. I just started with the P.
Yes.
It gives you a whole different perspective on like Mary Shelley's like mindset into creating this.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have not already, please like this video and subscribe to us because we have lots of fun content coming out.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and booze Taylor really quick because this girl already boozed me so many times that it is time for her to pay up.
I really thought she was gonna forget. Like I knew she had one left and this is our last video and I was so hoping that she was gonna fucking forget this.
Drink up, bitch. So anyway, while she's doing that, don't forget to also check out our Instagram at tipsy_book_talks. That's where we will be posting all of our content leading up to any other videos. Our next few videos are gonna be, yeah, that's what you get. Our next few videos are gonna be about Handmaid's Tale and Pride and Prejudice. So if you can, rent those, listen to them, read both of them. They are both gonna be very fun and very interesting videos.
We're so excited to read them.
I cannot get over how excited I am. I've read Pride and Prejudice, but I'm excited mostly for Handmaid's Tale.
I haven't read it yet. I haven't read either of those books, so I'm pretty pumped about it. Also, we just want to really get into like the November Pilgrim spirit, I guess.
Yes. Cheers on that front. Have fun drinking up, bitch.